Thanks for joining us, and here are business stories making headlines at this hour. I am Perpetua Fasami Peter. Now the news in detail. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, and the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Chief SYLVA, on Wednesday, mourned the demise of the outgoing OPEC Secretary General, Dr. MOHAMMAD Barkindo. OPEC Secretary General MOHAMMAD Barkindo passed away yesterday in his home country, Nigeria, at the age of 63. He was the much-loved leader of the OPEC Secretariat, and his passing is a profound loss to the entire OPEC family, the oil industry, and international community, OPEC said in a statement issued on its official Twitter page. Also, SYLVA said Nigeria had been thrown into mourning over the passing of Barkindo. In his words, "This is a great loss to Nigeria, to OPEC, to the energy sector, and most compassionately to his family, which we have in our prayers and thoughts." End of quote. Also, Mr. KYARI, Group Managing Director, Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC, said the OPEC boss, who was in Nigeria to participate at the ongoing Nigerian Oil and Gas Conference in Abuja, died at about 11 p.m. In his words, certainly a great loss to his immediate family, the NNPC, our country, Nigeria, the OPEC, and the global energy community. Burial arrangements will be announced shortly. End of quote. Mr. Chinedu Okoronkwọ, President, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, said Barkindo distinguished himself as a global energy leader. In his words, on behalf of IPMAN, I want to commiserate with OPEC, the Nigerian government, and the oil and gas industry on the demise of the beloved OPEC Secretary General. I pray that God will grant his immediate family and the entire industry the fortitude to bear this great loss. End of quote. Barkindo's career spanned over 4 decades and included work at Nigeria's National Petroleum Corporation, Duke Oil, Nigeria's Foreign Ministry and Energy Ministry, as well as OPEC. The Office of Accountant General of the Federation on Tuesday revealed the full details of the 4.194 trillion naira fuel subsidy paid to oil marketers between January 2017 and June 2022. A breakdown of the subsidy payments and deductions from the Federation account computed by the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation through the Federation Account Department for the period under review showed that a sum of 126.5 billion naira was paid from January to December 2017, 691.5 billion naira from January to December 2018, 537.2 billion naira paid from January to December 2019, 133.6 billion naira paid from January to December 2020, 1.159 billion naira paid from January to December 2021, while 1.5 trillion naira had been paid between January and June 2022. The details of the subsidy payments were contained in a 2-page document submitted by the director overseeing the office, Mr. SYLVA Okoliabo, to the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee inaugurated to ascertain the actual daily consumption of premium motor spirit in Nigeria, chaired by Honorable Abdulkadir Abdullahi, while scrutinizing various documents submitted by stakeholders, said, quote, "It is surprising now to see that oil companies are reading out figures of importation. In fact, more than what NNPC imported in 2020. In his response, the Executive Secretary of Nigeria Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, NAITI, Mr. Ogbonnaya Orji, said the NNPC, as the sole importer of petrol into the country, had swap and other arrangements with the IOCs with a view to reduce its exposure to the issues. While expressing concerns over the non-provision of details of the actual volume of liters of premium motor spirit, PMS, distributed by the NNPC that amounted to the 4.19 trillion naira fuel subsidy deductions from the Federation account, the lawmakers directed the OAGF director to provide a statement of accounts of the Federation account alongside the crude oil account statements. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has summoned the Minister of State for Petroleum, SYLVA, and the Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, KYARI, over their absence at the public hearing of the committee. Also to appear before the lawmakers are the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, the Managing Director of the Pipelines Products Marketing Company, PPMC, Malam Isiaku Abdullahi, as well as the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Petroleum Resources. The Deputy Majority Leader of the House, Peter Patterson, who represented the Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, at the hearing, said the committee members were disappointed that such critical stakeholders would choose to be absent, considering how important it is to ascertain the daily consumption to see if it corresponds with the subsidy payments. The Speaker also expressed his worry that their absence could be seen as an attempt to frustrate the investigation. There appears to be no going back on the push by the new National Petroleum Company, NNPC Limited, to contend fiercely for oil and gas assets in the country as it evolves into a commercial entity in about 2 weeks from now. The chief executive of the national oil firm, KYARI, pointedly told heads of private oil companies on Tuesday that, like them, the NNPC would henceforth go for the best and juiciest assets in the country. Speaking at the ongoing 21st Nigeria Oil and Gas Conference and Exhibition with theme, KYARI maintained that the mode of operation of the national oil firm would be no different from the private firms. KYARI stated that the NNPC would be very frontal in its moves to acquire as many oil and gas assets as possible, with a mindset to become one of the biggest oil firms in the world. He reiterated that President Muhammad Buhari would be unveiling the new NNPC Limited on July 19, which according to him meant that the firm would adopt best global practices in its operations. And now to the power sector. Federal government has announced the restructuring of 5 electricity distribution companies, also known as DISCOs, in the country. This was contained in a statement jointly signed on Tuesday by the executive chairman of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, Sanusi Garuba, and Director General of the Bureau of Public Enterprises, BPE, Alex Oko. According to them, the affected companies are Kano Electricity Distribution Company, Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, Benin Electricity Distribution Company, Kaduna Electric, and Port Harcourt Electricity Distribution Company. Garuba and Oko explained that the announcement followed Fidelity Bank's activation of the call on the collateralized shares of KETCO, BDEC, and Kaduna Electric over their inability to repay loans obtained to pay for assets acquired in the 2013 privatization exercise. They added that the Assets Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, would be a placeholder board for IBEDC in a temporary capacity, while the PHED undergoes restructuring to prevent its imminent insolvency. The NREC and BP chief said the new boards for the affected DISCOs have been approved, and the Bureau was collaborating with the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, and the Ministry of Power to ensure no service disruptions during the transition. The federal government on Tuesday announced that it had approved the strategy work plan to speed up the concession process for the 700 megawatts ZUNGERU hydroelectric power plant in Niger State. It announced this in a statement issued in Abuja by the head Public Communications, Bureau of Public Enterprises, IBrandTV, and stated that the approval was given by the National Council on Privatization. The Council noted that the key objectives of the plant's concession include leveraging the private sector access to finance and reducing reliance on government budgetary allocation to fund the China Exim Bank loan. The BP stated that the approved fast-track transaction process would enable the Bureau to work with a joint technical committee chaired by the chairman of the technical committee of the NCP. It said members were drawn from the Office of the Vice President, Ministry of Power, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Water Resources, BPE, and Accountant General of the Federation. Financial data released by the Central Bank has revealed that bank borrowings from the Central Bank of Nigeria declined by 42% in the first half of 2022 compared to the previous year following the increase in monetary policy rate MPR, improved business activities post-COVID-19, and other factors. According to the data, Nigerian banks as at June 2022 borrowed 3.58 trillion naira from the CBN to meet their short-term liquidity needs. The CBN data showed that banks borrowing through SLF and repo stood at 1.93 trillion naira and 1.65 trillion naira as at June 2022 respectively.